Hello everybody out there in YouTube world. Hope you are well and things are okay for you out there on that planet of ours. Right, as you can see, got my beloved with me.
Hi everyone.
Right, and this video is going to be about let's talk about, and the let's talk about thing is lessons learned in life. Okay?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. I was in my own world.
So right, yeah, I love it when she's in her own world, because she's in her own world, that means we are in the same world. Oh, bless her. How are you feeling with your cough compared
Still
to?
there.
Yeah, still, that's the cough still hanging around a bit,
Still
isn't it?
carrying on since January.
Yeah, since January. Oh, bless you. But yes, let's talk about lessons learned in life. Boy. It starts on the word go from when you're born. Because when you're born into the world, what are you learning? The lesson from the start, from your breathing. You're learning how to breathe. So that's a lesson there. You're learning how to breathe. And then you grow up a little bit more, and then you learn about your senses, the 5 senses. Because you learn about them too, don't you? Your hearing, smelling, seeing, taste, touch. 5 senses there. So then, and then you're growing up and you start going into, well, before you even that, you start learning how to crawl. That's a lesson there in its own right. Learning how to crawl.
That's what I call good lessons.
See,
Good lessons, aren't
we're not on about the bad lesson, we're on about all lessons.
All
lessons
lessons.
learnt in life, and that's what this is all about. All types of lessons. So then you've gone for the crawling stage, and then some of us don't want to even crawl, we want to learn how to walk. We skip that, some of us do. I was a bit of a late walker, I really was. And then you learn how to walk, and then you get to find about more investigation about learning about not to touch this and not to touch that. Dealing with hot and cold things, you're learning lessons about that. Then you start to learn about starting to make a sound out of your mouth. That's another lesson you learn, how to make a sound. Boy, that takes some day, because some children don't even start to develop that until much later. Some can be late learners in life.
Yeah, they can.
So then you come through that stage of your early childhood, and then you start to talk, even before you've even gone to school, in nursery. You know, learning about the sound of letters and things like that, all that information you're taking in from your parents. Then you see things on the TV, you're taking in those images of colours and sounds again you're taking in, and then how the brain is, then your brain is actually trying to put these together to create your own identity from what you are exposed to. How true is that?
Very.
And then you go to nursery school and you start to learn about books, pictures and numbers and letters.
And you certainly can learn a lot from books.
Oh, you certainly can, yes. And then your phonetic pronunciation of words, of letters first, and then putting those words together. Man, that takes some doing, that does. That is a serious lesson, because then these words that you formulate as you grow up, you learn how to express them out of yourself by speaking to people and connecting with people. And then that's another lesson again, to learn how to communicate, because you're learning that lesson of being a human being, in communicating and connecting with other humans.
True.
See, that's all the basic lessons that you're learning there, which can, boy, even as we grow into adults, some of us can still learn them or refer back to them. Because you get some people who skip those things and they forget those things, and they try and redesign their own kind of thing, which may not work for them. So you got to keep with the basic principles of those lessons you've learnt in life from childhood.
You can always have lessons learned as well, don't you?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can.
You know, I've learned a lot of lessons like that. And I was thinking, oh, well, I wish I could have known that when I was that age, what I know now.
Yeah. Just imagine if when we were children growing up, we had the technology like we got today. Wow. We'd be completely different human beings now, I can tell you that now. We really would. We'll be probably so far advanced with things even more. I
Yeah,
believe
because
that.
we hadn't got the technology then,
Nope.
had we?
So we had to learn the basic principles of things. Excuse me, we never had a calculator.
You weren't allowed one in the
No.
class, was you?
You know what our calculator was? This. This was our
To use your
calculator.
brain, you did.
This was our calculator. Not the calculators which you can speak into some of them and they give you the calculations. Where we had to do it ourselves from the noggin. You know, from this thing here, the general.
No computers, no
Nope.
phones.
No. The computers, I started to learn, I was 15 years of age.
Okay.
The very basic ones. And we're talking about the ones with the buttons that you had to go ping in it. Like the ones you touch today, it's just hardly touched. These ones, you had to really give it some effort for it to work. They were bigger than your fingertips. They were massive, I remember seeing them. And we had to have this, the pie chart they call it.
Yeah.
Where you had the different spherical things and to do with the basic binary of computing. Whoa. Wow. Man, did I struggle with that. I was more of a practical kid. To a certain extent, my English literature was good. I learned a lot of good English related things from school because my English language and my English literature I did excel in. I really did. And that's why it's helped me being an author as well. And it has. It really, really has. And if I never excelled at literature and my English language at school, I don't think I would have been able to write books like that, to be honest with you.
You probably wouldn't have been able to.
No, I wouldn't.
It's not easy, is it?
No.
Oh,
Whoa.
right.
I've known some people who are still on trying to get their first book out and they're almost through the whole life cycle. So I was very fortunate in a way, really. And my dad helped me a lot in learning those lessons of literature because my father, when he came over to the UK on the Windrush, he wanted to be a lawyer. So my father was a very, very intelligent man, very intelligent. But he had the rough deal because of the racism, and I've got to mention it, the racism facts back then. And that was another lesson we learned from that too. Racism, from the get-go for us, coming from two cultures of life. Wow, that was very powerful. Some of you kids today, you think racism was bad then? Compared to then, it was everywhere, and I mean it was everywhere. It was everywhere, it really, really was.
I mean, you speak to the kids today,
Yeah.
mixed race families,
Alright.
and they don't think it's as bad now, do they?
No, they don't. Because you got more. Alright. There you go, darling.
Thank you.
There you go. Alright. Okay. Alright, darling. Okay. Bless her. But yes, dealing with that racism as a kid growing up, what a huge and powerful lesson that was. We had to toughen up quite quick in learning lessons from that. We really did. It was whoa. But you know, as today now, I see myself as a unique human being. You've got the best of.
Both worlds.
Now I know about my DNA. Both
Yeah.
worlds we call it. I call it a multicultural world. I've got the best of all of that. Got the best of all of that. Multicultural world, and I definitely have got that in my DNA. But yes, your turn, my darling.
My way of learning
Yep.
lessons was the other way, really. I mean, I never liked school.
Yep.
But I still excelled.
See? Bit of a rebel, but look at you really did excel.
But I did excel, so people have different ways of learning,
Yeah.
don't they? Either visual or
Yep. Definitely. That's definitely.
written. It's an hard one when you actually learn hard. I mean, my own faults, obviously. You know, I just didn't like school. I hated school.
I think as well, the pressure of school, when we were kids growing up, was way up there because the pressure of learning was very, very high, wasn't it, Max? Compared to today, today's learning, you can do it at home. We never had that luxury. We had to go to them.
I mean, the learning weren't the problem with me. I didn't like being told what to do. I mean, to this day, I still don't like being told what to do.
That's what the teachers were like, though.
And it put me off going, like, you know, half the time. But when you go to work, you look back and you think, I wish I could go back to school. You know, when you're having, like, when you start colleges and stuff.
Because you left school early, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I stayed on. I was a prefect until I was 18.
15 when I left school. And 15 and a half when I went to live abroad. Yeah. But I mean, I've learnt lots of lessons as an adult. You know, and I think you have to.
Yeah, of
because
course.
if you don't learn,
how are you going to...
how are you going to rectify everything?
Exactly. How are you going to evolve? Because if you haven't
How are
learned
you
enough...
going to change things round?
Exactly. How are you going to adapt?
Yeah.
Because every one of us on this earth, I can promise you, every human being has made a mistake of every way, shape or form. I can promise you that. I would love to find out if there's a human being out there who has not made a mistake.
I mean, some of us make them too many times, really.
Yeah, we do.
Before we get it right.
I've made too many myself in life, and that's not
You
joke.
know, and you
I'm
have
to that, hands up to that.
You have to learn. It's a
Yeah.
learning curve, isn't it?
It is.
You know, but when you can say, yes, I've learned, then you know that you've got it right this time.
Exactly. Totally support that one.
It's people who don't get it right.
Yeah. Who are not, I wouldn't say don't get it right. People who don't want to
Get it
learn
right,
how to get it right. Who don't admit they've made that mistake. Who like to, yeah, right, whatever, doesn't bother me at all. No, that's the wrong approach, because an attitude and approach to life is very destructive in a huge way. Very destructive, because it not only destroys them, but it destroys everything around them, because it has that ripple effect, as I've mentioned before.
I mean, as well, going back to like school, there's some not nice teachers.
Oh gosh, well, I
They
remember
have
a few
favourites, don't they?
Yep.
They have favourites.
Teachers' pets, we call
Yeah,
those.
teachers' pets.
Teachers' pets.
But it's like, it's an old age thing, that is, isn't it?
Very old age.
I know in my day when I went to school, you used to get the ruler across your fingers.
The ruler. Boy, we used to get the cane.
Across your legs.
We used to get the cane, we used to get the slipper, and also the blackboard rubber. The teachers would throw that at you sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's no joke, they really would. I was very lucky, I didn't get that thrown at me, but I did end up having the cane when I was at Heath Park. And boy, did I get it when I got back home from school on top. And you know what we got the cane for? Truanting. We were skiving. And I remember it to a day. I really do. I have to tell you this little story. There was me, Nicholas Arnold and John Robinson. Just us three. And it was the first break period. And then we had general science, double general science with Mr. Armitage. And none of us liked general science. I didn't, I'm being honest with you. So we decided to skip that lesson, and we'd go to the shops little shopping precinct that we was hanging around by, and we saw the headmaster of Old Fallings Junior School. So we called all three of us, got into his car, and took us back to school. And Mr. Levi was the deputy head of Heath Park that time. And boy, did we have the cane. We had the cane on the back of our hands, and on the palm of our hands. All three of us did. Then we left school that year. The family did. We moved, address from Lawrence Avenue down to the Stafford Road. And I had the slipper off Mr. Oakley for finally fighting back. And he was a lad called Terry Cookson, and he used to pick on me a lot. And then when I got tough, I had enough of that, and I gave him a beating. I beat him up, and I did, by the bike sheds. I knocked him out, and I really did give him a pasting. And I got told on by one of the girls who saw this, I can't remember what her name was. And the following day, Mr. Oakley had me in his office. He was the deputy head of Pendiford High School, Annex number 1. And I had the slipper. And again, when I got back home, I had it on top of that. Of Dad. God bless you, Dad. So see, I learned from them lessons. And then years later, I became a prefect. See what I mean? I learned from those mistakes from school, from finally fighting up and sticking up for myself, and I got persecuted for it, literally, at school.
I mean, these days you weren't even allowed to touch your kids, are you?
Nope.
Not allowed to eat them.
Nope.
So what gives them teachers in them days a right to
Yeah.
and they really hurt you,
Yeah, they really did. They really went overboard.
Yeah.
We had a teacher, I always remember this one teacher, Pendiford. So some of these subscribers who probably may have gone to my school at Pendiford, I don't know. He lived in Wolverhampton and he was in the same year. We had a teacher called Masha Martin. And the reason why we called him Masha Martin, because he was physical to the kids at school. He really was rough with them, man. And that's why we called him Masha Martin. He had his thick beard, bald head. When you seen him for, oh God, Masha Martin's a bit scarper, man. We really did, it was funny. But yeah, I'll tell you, he was one of my favourite teachers, I have to say. I like Mr. Belton. He was a sports teacher, and he did maths as well. And who was the other one now? He had ginger hair, and he was brilliant at sport. He was a really good sports teacher. Mr. Belton. Was it Belton, was it? Belton? Something like that, anyway. And he was a very good teacher. He had ginger hair and ginger beard. But anyway, so you learn those lessons from school if you misbehaved and got physically disciplined, not just at school, but your dad as well, and mom. But you learn those lessons from that, and you remember them, as I remember them clearly into adults, so you know you've learned from those mistakes, and you still make some mistakes along the way.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be human if you didn't make mistakes, would you?
Couldn't have said it any better.
You wouldn't be human.
Wouldn't be a human being.
Them.
You wouldn't be a human being.
Everybody makes them.
Excuse me.
As I say, if you're not learning from them, that's when you've got your problems.
Oh God, yes, you certainly have.
No?
Certainly I've got your problems.
Yeah.
But yes, people, man, we all learn from life's lessons. Every single one of us does. Don't care who you are. We all learn from them. Hopefully for the better too as well. Because as we said earlier in this video, some people don't ever learn or don't want to learn. They think their way of going through life is right. Trust me, it doesn't work that way.
No.
Never have that narrow-minded approach and be a narcissist. Because we know there's quite a few narcissistic type people out there. We've had them around by us in our own lives. So we know about that. But you know, the thing is, I never heard that word, narcissist, until I started watching things on YouTube. Never knew anything about it. And then it was first, I knew about it watching an American documentary about crime-related stuff. And that's how I found out about that word, because I never knew what it meant. Never heard about it. But anyway, so yes, lessons of life.
Mm.
Even to this very day, lessons are still being taught out of school to people about how life should be lived. Mm.
Mm. I mean, people as well, they think that they know everything, don't they, some people?
Oh gosh, I know some people who are like that. Know-it-alls, we call them.
Yeah, and that you won't, you can't talk to them.
No, you can't. You can't get an edge way in with them.
Because it's their way or no way at
Yep.
all. Yeah, but as young people, if you've got respect, you ain't going to argue back with them, are you? I mean, I used to. And that was a lesson learnt for me, because I wouldn't like somebody speaking to me
I'm telling you what to do.
with disrespects.
Even though they were much older than you as well.
Yeah.
Old enough to be your parent.
Yeah. Should have had more respect. But I learned from it.
Yeah.
I did learn from it. But there's so much you could talk about regarding lessons, isn't there?
There is. It's massive.
It is massive. It is massive.
It's like when we go through meditation. Every time you meditation, it's different. There's a slight difference in every session from one to the next, and that's no joke. You never get two meditation sessions the same. No, there's a slight difference in it. Like with the cycles that I go through for the energy, the chi. Where when I first started doing this practice years and years ago, it took me hours upon hours just to get one cycle. So I had to learn that lesson, how to keep cultivation. Until now, it's within seconds of me doing my meditation, I feel the cycle straight away. And they're very strange, because every cycle is a different lesson for me. It's a different feeling. The things I see is different, completely different. And how people say, well, how can you see them? You've got to be like, no light coming through your vision. You always have to be closed, and it has to be dark, and then that's when you see it glowing inside it. And it does some weird and wonderful and magical things. Wish I could share that with everybody. So you know the lesson of that too. But yeah, cultivation is a lesson. You have to learn how to cultivate oneself. How hard is that? I can tell you now, it's very, very, very hard. Some people can't even learn how to do it. It's a difficult practice. It's not easy. But the thing is, it was created for us to learn.
It's like I learned a lesson, really.
Right.
Today, I went out on my own, ran on my own with my grandson, but I felt lost without Andrew. Now, to me, that's a lesson learned, because you can become too dependent on someone. And you think to yourself, well, what about if something happened to one of you? You know, you've got to keep your independence.
Yeah,
as well,
you have to keep.
you?
Yeah,
You have to.
you do have to keep that. Yeah.
You do have to.
But there's a but. There is a but. But yeah, you still have to keep that independence thing about you. Because at the end of the day, we are individual people. It's like with twins. They might look physically and sound identical,
Yeah.
but they are still individual people. There is. It's because they got their own personality.
But it makes you learn, like, as well, that what that person does for you as well. It's very difficult for me to go out on my own.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is
You
difficult
have to
for me
be-
to go out on my own.
Yeah, that's why I have to be with Max the majority of the time.
I mean, you know, your grandsons can be with you, whatever, but they don't know how to look after you like an adult would do.
Exactly,
They?
it's true. Because they've never had that responsibility. you see.
Yeah, they try, they do try.
They do try, but they've never had that responsibility.
Yeah.
Looking after someone who has got, they used to be okay, but you get to that certain age and you have your things going on, and the body changes and changes, and it does. Mine's changing. Me 30 years ago compared to how I am, I was a completely different physical person.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
I've had to learn right, I can't do that anymore now like what I used to. I have to be more smarter and sensible with this. You're thinking, man, I've got to go about getting all pumped up. No, it's not all about that now. When you become a senior in life, trust me,
You
changes.
start to slow down.
Boy, this is why I love Tai Chi, because Tai Chi is a lesson in its own right. It teaches you how to slow. You're right, darling.
Sorry.
It's all right. It teaches you how to slow this down. Your pathological thinking in your mind. When you was younger, your mind was doing this. And it was like this. It was all over the place. And that's the job. You weren't a grounded person as such, because you were thinking. Your head was always up in there. We call that in the clouds. And when you get older, boy, do you come down. When you drop like a 10-ton bomb, boom. When it hits you, you know about it. And that has happened to me. I know. When the reality of life sets in, boy, then you have to learn another lesson again. How to evolve to that. And when you get older, your lessons change again. Every month is a different lesson in learning as you're getting older, because you are still learning. It never stops. It never, ever, ever stops.
It's like when you retire, isn't
Mm.
it? In your head, you're going to do this, that, and the other, and then you slow down. You've slowed down by then. That's probably the whole idea of retiring.
Yeah,
isn't
of
it?
course.
Because you can't really carry on much more. And you've got to learn that lesson that you can't do what you used to do.
No, you can't.
But if you've had all that energy when you retire, what you had then, wow, it would be such a beautiful
Life experience.
life experience towards the ends of your life, really.
Exactly.
But because you can't do so much, you can't enjoy it so much, can you?
This is why I say to people, learn that lesson in life.
Yeah.
Cultivate oneself. But you don't start it when you reach in your 50s and 60s. Start it from when you were like in your 20s. That's the perfect time to learn about self-cultivation. And
So you agree with that?
when you're in your 20s, because you're not even at your prime. You know, when you reach your prime in life, if, say for instance, you're a person, right? You don't do no physical exercises at all. You just live a normal, basic life. When you peak as an adult, you peak at a very different level. You peak, I think they'll peak about in their 30s, mid-30s.
Yeah.
People who exercise, who have started a fitness activity from a very, very young age in life. Take me, I was 9 when I got into the martial arts. I was even doing stuff before that, because our dad did boxing in Jamaica, for those of you who don't know. And he only did it just for a thing, like a pastime. He never fought in no ring, he just trained, learned how to punch and keep himself fit. He used to go to a lagoon at the back of their house, which is like, I think, about a quarter of a mile away. And they used to go swimming in it every morning, Dad did, with his brothers and his sisters before they went to school. So do that every day, Monday to Friday. I don't know if I think it was on the weekends as well. There's a big lagoon out front of just a short while from their home. And they used to go there, and Dad used to do his boxing. My Uncle Calbert did boxing, just boxing training. That's it, just boxing training. That's all he did. And, you know, Dad, God bless him, he lived a good life, you know, and, but yeah, but getting back to, so keeping fit from a very young age in life. I mean, I've mentioned before in the video, I'll be 60 next year, 2026. Now, I've been told I don't look like a man who's getting to that age. What is a man of my age group meant to look like and behave like? Can anyone know the answer to that? Because there is no answer to that. There's none. So
It's like your body's a temple.
yes,
and
it
the more
is.
you look after it in that temple.
It looks after you later on in life.
Exactly. And, you know, that's totally true.
It looks after you.
I noticed today lots of Chinese people, and my gosh, they don't look old, and they certainly haven't got aches and pains like we have. The way they're walking and that.
Yeah, we've always said that, haven't we?
So they've obviously been keeping fit in
From a
whichever way they
very,
do it.
very
Yeah.
early age.
They really are.
I mean, I'm lucky really. I don't have any aches and pains. I mean, I've mentioned before, I was meant to have major surgery on this knee. When I had my x-ray, It was 2021, was it? 2021, wasn't it? Yeah, I went to New Cross, and I went to my doctor first. Said I was having my knee had swollen, and he checked it. I said, "You're going to need an MRI scan." I said, "An MRI scan?" He said, "Yeah, we definitely got some damage there." So I thought, wow, see, this is a lesson I'm learning. I'm learning this lesson from what had transpired. So I went and seen a specialist for the the bone and ligament specialist he was, and yeah, went for this big MRI machine. I didn't like this big dome thing you go into, and yeah, done the knee out, and a few weeks later I was called back to see my specialist, and I was limping a lot. I mean, Max will tell you, I had a walking stick. I had it for a good while, didn't I?
Yeah, your leg was in a terrible state.
Yeah, it was in a bad state, and the doctors, well, the specialist says to me, he said, "You're going to have reconstructional surgery on your knee, around by your knee." He says, "What do you mean?" "Your anterior ligament, the crucial ligament. They're frayed away." He said, "By rights, you should not be walking on that knee." He said, "You had meant to..." Alright, darling.
Yeah, sorry.
He said he was meant to have a temporary cast put on before I was booked in to have major surgery, because he was going to take ligaments, tissue from my hamstring, to rebuild the ligaments around here. This ligament here, this one here, and the one going across here. And you know what? I was terrified. I was really terrified, knowing that I was going to have that done. I thought, that's it, my martial arts life was over, and I really thought that. And then I was still working at my last employer as a home delivery driver, and I couldn't do that anymore because of what happened to my knee. So they put me on the checkouts and that. So the doctor at New Cross got back to me, and he said, "You'd, by letter, or was it email, he said you'd have to go to the specialist hospital in Cannock, where they do specialist surgery in that area, because they didn't have one in Wolverhampton at that time." So I went down to the surgery to, they give you like an introduction to say, just show you what it's going to do and blah blah this and blah blah that. So I thought, okay then. So I got back home, and they gave me the information, and when I was going to go in, I thought, right, I told work I've got to go into that. And again, and a staff member was going to run me down because I was struggling because I couldn't drive to get there. I was told I couldn't drive there, so I was get someone to take me down. So it was a big journey for me to travel there. It was an
early of a morning.
Yeah. And then something happened where my ride was meant to come and pick me up and never turned up. Tried contacting the person, couldn't get in touch. And I thought, there's something here. Wasn't meant for me to go and have this operation. I don't know why I was meant to have this operation. So I thought, and then I went into another lesson learned from life, bad state of depression. My PTSD had really ugly little head in a vicious way, and I learned from that. So I had to teach myself how to kind of get better inside, in a sense. But I had to go to that very, very dark place.
But the lesson in it is,
Yep.
it obviously didn't need that operation.
There you go, see?
Because you put it yourself right.
Yeah, you put yourself right. How weird is that?
After all that swelling and pain, and it actually put itself right. So that just proves the lesson is it didn't need an operation.
I didn't need that major surgery.
Because I always find with these consultants and that,
They don't know everything.
well, they can't. So, they're human beings, aren't they?
Because to them, you're a guinea pig.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, if they hadn't got people to operate on, they would never learn.
No, they wouldn't, because they're learning too.
Because they're learning all the while, that's their lesson.
Mm.
Even though they've done 7, 8, 9, 10 years, whatever.
Mm.
We've got to be very grateful to them, really, for what they do when they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, we find that we do not need these things, do we?
And, you've seen pictures of me on my channel, video pictures of me going into full splits.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be doing, and I really and truly should not be doing things like that. I shouldn't. I shouldn't be walking. I can run on this knee. I can kick over 6, 7 feet in the air with this knee. There's video evidence of me doing this, and I shouldn't be putting any pressure at all. I can adopt a horse position stance. For those of you who don't know that, in Chinese we call it the Maobu. Maobu stance. The horse riding stance, which we hold for a long time. I can hold it a good few minutes in it. And I shouldn't be doing that weight bearing at all, but yes, I am. So yes, a lesson again. A lesson of myself, of knowing how my body works. Know thyself, as the saying would go. So yes, wow, very powerful lesson that was, I can tell you that now. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned, apart from the one in 2011. But yes, lessons. Even though we're doing this video, we're learning this lesson, and you're learning this lesson too, from this video.
Share the biggest lesson that you've ever been through
Yeah,
with us.
yeah, we'd love that in the comments below.
Really, yeah.
Seriously, don't be afraid to mention these lessons that you've learned. Just share the biggest lesson, the biggest one ever. Because I can assure you, you definitely have learned a big lesson. Some of my subscribers have. I guarantee you that. Yeah. The biggest lesson. Put it in the comments below for this in relation to this video. We'd love to read and have a look at it. Okay, so are you done now on this one?
I don't.
So this one is a wrap. And again, thank you for those of you who are new to the channel. For those of you watching the videos who haven't subscribed as yet, please hit that subscription button, hit the notification bell as well. So again, you'll be seeing us uploading videos every week without fail, but not every day, depending. Yeah, share the videos, share the channel. And again, we'll keep saying this. We are us being us. That's it. We're not putting on a show or an act. We're being us. Us. Or as you say, usk. Usk. USC. Usk. Usk. Hashtag usk. But yeah, thank you anyway for our support. Thank you. We really, really do appreciate it. And we'll always say this, please stay safe out there, everybody.
Always.
Please, always, always stay safe. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
I need to borrow his hand because...
Namaste.
Namaste.
And let's keep this tree of life. Let's keep it. Always. And forever flying. And if you can feel the chi on any of the videos that I'm doing, just let me know, because I want to know what you feel from the chi. Because don't forget, chi is bioelectricity, which means it can flow through anything. Especially it's got electrical pulse running through, as these videos do. Just let us know. That'd be interesting to find out. Let's feel that chi. Even my hands are gone red. Thank you. And again, as always, supporting Prostate Cancer UK. Please, guys, if any difficulties, any pain, any discomforts, get yourself checked. Please. Thank you.